Hi, I'm Assistant Professor Aditi Mathur, International Schools of Business Management, Suresh Gyanbia University Chairman. And on today's video lecture, we'll be learning how to calculate cost of debentures, that is KD. So this is one of the part of the calculation which we need to calculate the overall cost of capital. For that, let us just learn how to calculate cost of debentures. So what all we will be covering in this video lecture? We'll be learning how to calculate cost of redeemable debentures both before and after tax. We will also be learning how to calculate cost of irredeemable debentures both before and after tax. So let us just discuss two important definitions. A cutoff rate for the allocation of capital to investments of project. It is the rate of return on a project that will leave unchanged the market price of the stock. So, what is James trying to say through his definition? That the cost of capital is that rate of return on a project that will leave unchanged the market price of the stock. Stock means of your shares, right? So, it is that minimum rate. So one of the other term for the cost of capital is the cut-off rate. According to John, the cost of capital is that rate of return the firm requires from investment in order to increase the value of the firm in the marketplaces. Right? So both the definitions are really very important for us. In examination, many a times a normal question comes that explain cost of capital and give example and definition. So you have to write the definition. Please always write the person name who have given this definition and then write the definition in the proper format, that is with the inverted commas, so that you can state and get full marks. So we can say that the cost of capital of a firm is that minimum rate of return expected by its investor. It is weighted average cost of various sources of finance used by a firm. So now let us discuss the various sources of finance for a long-term purpose which a company uses, right? So we have equity share capital, preference share capital, we have long-term loans, we also have debentures over here, and we have retained earnings. So these six avenues are the different sources of finance which a company use, and they become a part of your capital structure. So we are trying to calculate that weighted average cost, which is what? Which is that minimum rate of return which an investor is expecting from the investments which he is doing in the company. This cost of capital is also referred as cutoff rate, target rate, hurdle rate, minimum rate of return, and standard cost. So if in the question a question comes to calculate the target cost, then that means the question wants you to find out the cost of capital. So you should know the different names through which even a cost of capital is known. So what do we mean by cost of debentures? KD is that interest rate that a company pays on its debt content of the capital structure. It can be measured before tax and after tax. Tax plays a very important role as the debentures interest expense is allowed as an expense for the purpose of taxation. Debt may be issued at par, at premium, at discount, and it can be redeemable or irredeemable. So now let us just understand what all will be the part of cost of debentures. So debentures can be of two type, that is your redeemable and irredeemable. And these redeemable and irredeemable can further be understood with after tax effect and before tax effect. And the basic formula to calculate the cost of debenture after tax is to take before tax value and multiply it with 1 minus t. So you will get the after tax value. Why the taxation plays a vital role is because the debentures are associated with an interest, and that interest is an allowed expense by the income tax, and it becomes a very important for us to take the tax into the consideration. So now let us just understand that the debentures can be issued by three ways, that is at par, at premium, at discount. That means if the debenture have face value of 100 and it is issued at 100, that means it is a case of par. Whatever the face value is, it is issued on that same face value. But there are many cases in which the face value of debenture is 100, but it is issued at, let's suppose, 120. So this extra 20 rupees is premium, and this is the premium amount. That means you have paid extra 20 to get the face value 100 rupees debenture. And in the case when the face value is 100 and the issue value is, let's take 80, that means you have paid extra 20. That means you have got a discount and it is issued at discount. There can be three situations in which the debentures can be issued: par, premium, and discount. The rates, price, or the values associated with the debentures is issue price. That means at the price which the debentures are issued. Face value, that means the value which is written on that debenture on that page. Then the redeemable value and your net proceeds. We will understand them one by one as and when we will continue with our work. So, what do we mean by the cost of irredeemable debentures? So, let me just first tell you that debentures are of two types: irredeemable and redeemable. Redeemable debentures means that after certain number of years, they will be repaid to the lenders. Whereas irredeemable means they will not be repaid. It will keep on going. There is no certain number of years associated with that source of finance. Right? So we have to learn how to calculate the cost of debentures for both redeemable and irredeemable. And again, we can have two situations, that is before tax and after tax. Always remember, we need value after tax. So let us just first understand how to calculate the cost of irredeemable debentures, that too before tax. Because we know to calculate after tax, you just have to multiply the before tax value with 1 minus t. So let us just learn how to calculate this before tax figure. There's a simple formula associated to calculate the cost of irredeemable debentures. That is, KD is equals to I divided by P into 100. I stands for the fixed annual interest and P stands for the principal amount, right? And this formula is applicable when the issue is at par. But when the issues are made at premium or discount, then we come up with a concept of net proceeds. So how to calculate net proceeds? Net proceeds is equals to face value of the debenture minus discount or plus the premium amount minus issue expenses like brokerage, underwriting commissions, or the printing and other expenses. And the amount, the final amount is your net proceed. So in the case to calculate the KD, when they are irredeemable and that too before tax, you need to have interest and you will divide it by net proceed because it is the case of discount or premium, and then multiply it by 100, right? So a small formula to calculate the cost of irredeemable debentures before tax. Now let us just solve a question to get a good understanding. A company sells new issue of 6% irredeemable debentures to raise 1 lakh rupees and realizes the full face value of 100. That means it is a case of par. The company falls in 40% tax bracket. Debts are issued at par. What is KD before tax? So what is the formula? To calculate KD, it is I divided by principal into 100. Why P? Because it is the case of par. It is already clearly mentioned in the question. So let us just first calculate the interest amount. And the interest will be calculated on 1 lakh. It is at the rate of 6%. So it is 6,000. So our KD will be equal to 6,000 divided by 1 lakh into 100. And it will give us 6%. Why we have not taken into the consideration the tax factor, that means the 40%, is because the calculation is to be made before tax. If we have to make it after tax, then we will multiply it and we will get the after tax valuation. But the question was to calculate KD before tax, so we have ignored the text formula and we have simply divided the interest with the principal and multiplied it by 100 to get the KD, that is cost of debentures, and that is 6%. So this is how we do the calculation. Now let us just understand how to calculate cost of irredeemable debentures after tax. So we have studied right now the before tax calculation and we have to simply learn it how to do it after tax. I told you in one of the previous slides that to calculate KD or any amount after tax, always multiply the before tax value with 1 minus T. Right? So KD after tax is equals to KD before tax into 1 minus T. And what is KD before tax? It is I divided by P or NP into 100 and then multiplied by 1 minus T. Right? So that is how we got our this formula, that is I divided by MP into 1 minus T. And where NP is equals to net proceed. And what was the formula of net proceed? Net proceed is equals to face value plus premium minus discount minus other expenses like your commission, printing, underwriting, and the amount which you will receive is your net proceed. So now let us just solve another question to understand how to do it after tax. So the same question is continued. That means our interest is 6,000 and our principal or net value is your 1 lakh, and this time we have to calculate after tax. That's why our tax rate is 0.40. So how to calculate KD after tax? So it is going to be 6,000 divided by 1 lakh into 1 minus T. That means 1 minus 0.4, right? So which is equals to and which is equals to your 3.6%, right? And now let us just do it with the help of that basic formula, that is KD after tax is equals to KD before tax into 1 minus T. So it was 6% into 1 minus 0.4. It is 6 into 0.06, which is 3.6%, right? So either you write the entire formula or do it, or you just calculate it before tax and multiply it by 1 minus T, the value will be same. So let us just have a quick recap on the formula. That is KD before tax is I divided by NP, but after tax it is I divided by NP into 1 minus T. Remember, this KD is for the irredeemable debentures, right? The redeemable debentures have a bit tricky formula, but right now we are doing it for the irredeemable. That means there is no time period after which your debentures will be redeemed, right? They are irredeemable. So this is the two formulas which we have learned. Now let us just talk about the calculations for the cost of redeemable debentures. Then again, we will do it for both before tax and after tax. But let us just understand the terminologies and formula for redeemable debentures. So in the case of redeemable debentures, before tax, KD is equals to interest plus face value or the principal minus net proceed divided by n whole divided by principal or face value plus net proceed divided by 2. So your KD is equals to interest plus redeemable value minus net proceed divided by n whole divided by redeemable value plus net proceed divided by 2. Redeemable value is also equals to face value if it is not given into the question, right? So we can just see n means the number of years after which your debentures will get redeemed. NP is your net proceed, the same formula for the net proceed which we have discussed previously. I is for your interest. And now let us just solve this question to get a good understanding. A firm issues debentures of 1 lakh and realize 98,000 after allowing 2% commission to brokerage. So this is what? This is your net proceed. A debenture may carry interest of 10%. Debentures are due for maturity at the end of 10th year. That means your N is 10. And you're required to calculate the effective cost of debentures before tax. So what is the formula? The formula for the KD is equals to I plus redeemable value minus net proceed divided by N whole divided by redeemable value plus net proceed divided by 2. So what is the amount of interest? It is 1 lakh 10%, that is 10,000, plus redeemable value, that means the amount which you will get after the maturity of 10 years, it is 1 lakh, because there's nothing other information given, so we will assume that your redeemable value is equals to your face value. This is one of the assumptions we are taking, because nothing in question is mentioned about the redeemable value. So it is 1 lakh minus net proceed, that is your 98,000, whole divided by 10, because n is 10, and whole divided by 1 lakh plus 98,000 divided by 2. And when you will solve the equation, you'll come to know that your KD is equals to 0.103, which can also be written as 10.3%. Right? It is very easy if you know the formula and if you know that which value in the question represents which figure of the formula. Right? So you have to just understand the formulas, understand the language given in the question, and just put the values in the formula and get the answers. It is not a rocket science, it is just a direct questions given to you. But they will be only corrected if you know the formula, if you know the concept, and if you know how to do the calculation without any silly mistakes. So now let us just understand the formula for the calculation of cost of redeemable debentures, but this time after tax. The same rule apply. That means to calculate it before tax and then multiply it with by 1 minus t. Or otherwise, the formula is interest plus redeemable value minus net proceed divided by n whole multiplied by 1 minus t entirely divided by redeemable value plus net proceeds divided by 2. So the only extra value over here is multiplication of the text, right? So now let us just do the question. XYZ company has the debentures outstanding with 5 years left for maturity. The debentures are currently selling at 90. That means their face is 100, but they are selling at 90. That means it is a case of your discount. The debentures are to be redeemed at 5% premium. That means your redeemable value will be more. It will not be same as the face value, because it is given in the question that it will be redeemed at 5% premium. The interest is paid annually at the rate of 12% and the tax is 35%. Calculate KD. So first of all, let us just write all the figures which are given to us in the question. So first of all, we are given that your N is equals to 5, your I is equals to 100 into 12%, that is 12. Then your T is equals to 0.35. Your NP is equals to 90 and your RV is equals to 100 into 5% premium plus 100. So it will be 105. So these all are the things which are given to us in the question. Now let us just write the question formula. That is KD after tax is equals to interest plus RV minus NP divided by N, multiply it by 1 minus T whole divided by RV plus NP divided by 2. So now let us just put the values. In this question, the number of debentures were not given, so we assumed it for the one and we did it and calculated. In many a times, the questions, the number of debentures are given, so values get complicated. But this was one of the simplest questions which you can directly get. So now let us just have a quick recap of what we have studied today. We have studied the cost of debentures. We have studied that the debentures can be of two types, that is redeemable and irredeemable. We have studied the formulas for the calculations of KD for both before and after tax. In both the cases, that means redeemable and irredeemable. So the formula for the cost of irredeemable debentures before tax is I divided by P into 100. It can be NP also. It depends on the question that whether it is premium or discount or par. This was the one of the questions that we solved. Then cost of irredeemable after tax is I divided by NP into 1 minus T, the question which we solved. Then the cost of redeemable debentures before tax, the formula is KD is equals to I plus RV minus NP divided by N whole divided by NP divided by 2. In here, RV represents your redeemable value and N is the number of years after which your debenture will be redeemed. Then we saw the question and we looked on the formula to calculate the cost of redeemable debentures after tax. So there are two ways, either to follow this formula or to calculate it first before tax and then multiply it by 1 minus T, or the formula is I plus RV minus NP divided by N whole multiply it by 1 minus T divided by RV plus NP divided by 2. This is the question in which the issue was at discount and redeemable value was with premium figure, right? So you just have to do anything, understand the question, understand the nature of the security, that means it is redeemable or not, and then try to write down all those things which are given to us in the question, and then just put the values in the formula and get the answer. So in today's video lecture, we understood how to calculate the specific cost of debentures. That means how to calculate KD. We can calculate it by two methods, that is to first calculate it before tax and then convert it into after tax. But always remember, for the calculation purpose of overall cost of capital, we need the figures after tax, right? So that is why we have learned how to calculate it before tax and then after tax. So you need to know how to calculate cost of debentures after tax so that you can easily calculate overall cost of capital. So we have learned today how to calculate cost of capital before tax, after tax for both redeemable and irredeemable debentures. So now let us just have a quick recap with the help of the 10 MCQ questions which I have prepared. So the first two questions are on your screen. Question number 3 and question number 4. In question number 3, you have to identify the correct formula for the calculation of KD. This is question number 5 and question number 6. question number 7 and question number 8. Again, in question number 8, you have to identify the correct formula to calculate KD after tax. And in question number 7, you have to identify how to calculate NP. The last two questions for this video lecture, that was question number 9 and question number 10. Now let us just check the correct answers for the questions. The question number 1, 2, and 3 have the correct option C. Question number 4, it's D. Question number 5, it's B. Question number 6, it's A. Question number 7, it's C. Question number 8, the correct option is B. For question number 9, the correct option is D. And for the question number 10, the correct option is A. I do hope you have learned how to calculate KD for both redeemable and redeemable in the both cases, that is before tax and after tax. Thank you everyone for watching this video lecture. Thank you. Happy learning.